actually kind of have faith. I think this might work out. This might be a slam dunk, y'all. Be my yarny friend. These are a little bit, maybe these aren't a good example. Or yarn engineering. Is that a word? I don't know. Hello, magical makers. I'm Nicole of Woven Tales Designs, and we're doing a vlog here. I've had this idea stuck in my head for a while. I've let it marinate long enough, and I'm finally ready to get things going. I'm finally ready to bite the bullet here and to just start working on it. I've avoided it because it's a little stressful for me. I don't know why it's stressful. I love designing. I am so thankful for the response I get from the Ever After Ears pattern. If you haven't seen this pattern yet, I have all of the information for this pattern in the description below. I have a free tutorial for it on my YouTube channel for the chunky and the worsted weight version, and they both come in adult and child size. But I really wanted to expand on the headband and not just have it as a mouse ear headband. I want to do it in a couple other ways as well. So I'll be revealing those on my channel as I go along, as I create them. But one of the first ones I want to create is actually more of kind of more selfish, because to be honest with you, I have like a smaller head, and I also have my hair is really fine. It is curly, but it's also straight at the same time, and it's really fine. So headbands fall off my head all the time just because of my head shape, head size, and hair type. And it's really obnoxious when I'm at the parks. I need another option, personally. I think there's more we can do here. So we are going to create a new version. We are going to do a ball cap version of the Ever After mouse ears, and I'm so excited for this. You have no idea. I have always been a hat girl, whether it's a beanie, a beret, a baseball cap, a bucket hat, kind of. I'm not always a bucket hat person, but I love wearing hats. I've always been a hat girl. I thought a baseball cap version would be so fun and so perfect because it's also gender neutral, which I find to be very attractive. If you can create an item that is gender neutral, that increases the amount of people that can be involved. So I'm here for it. I'm excited. I have a bunch of random baseball hats that I bought just because I didn't want to ruin my own baseball hats. Of course, I have some natural favorites of mine in my own collection that I'm I probably shouldn't cut these up or use these to try this new design on. So I bought some random cheapos from Amazon. I will leave those linked down below if you're interested. I will be doing a full tutorial on my YouTube channel on how to do this. There's a twist to this project, so let's get to the twist here. Okay, so for the twist for this project, I want to do two versions for this because since I'm using an already made item as the base, I think it would be cool to do a sew version of the ears and then a glue version of the ears. A sew version would include you not using any glue at all, and all you would need to use is just a sharp tapestry needle or a really big-eyed needle to be able to sew this onto the hat. And then the other version would be a glue version of this. I think that could be really fun. We're gonna dive into this today. I'm getting started officially. I wanted to vlog it too because I really think that the creative process can be so up and down, and it's full of drama. I do realize I will have to alter things a little bit. I want to work on the sew version of this before I work on the glue version, because I think the glue version and the sew version will be very, very similar. I want to tackle the sew version first because I think that's the harder of the two. Once I have that tackled, I think the non-sew version will be, or the glue version will be much easier. But I do need to alter the ear strip. If you've made these before, you know that the ear strip is that bit that goes down the center, the spine. It connects the two ear bases together. The ear strip is really what is going to be the deciding factor in how successful this project will be. Comment down below if you were to create mouse ears with a baseball cap, would you add a bow or would you not add a bow? Because that is something I'm also gonna play around with too. Get excited, we are on a baseball cap adventure today. Let's get started. We got some progress. I made the bases, made a couple things. Let's talk about placement here because I don't really know exactly how to tackle this, and this is why I got the cheap hats, because if I mess up, I'm not gonna be mad at myself. I also changed something else to make the, sorry, my son is down here, Anthony. Disclaimer, not disclaimer, you know, if you see my channel, I'm a mompreneur. I stay-at-home mom as well. So my little guy is gonna be making cameos as he does, because he is so curious about what mommy's doing. Here, you hold one and I'll hold the other. Good job. So, to make these a little more unique to the hat and maybe a little faster to create, instead of doing like the padding on the inside, I've actually done 2 pieces of that foam insert that you saw with the ever after ears, and I kind of like that better. It's flatter, but it still has dimension. I also changed, which I might alter later with another try at this if this works. I also made this with a different ear strip. Instead of doing like single crochet 2 across for like however many rows that it requires, I actually did a chain, and then I joined through the back and the front loops of the chain for each side of this. I don't know if any of that makes sense to you. I kind of like having like a side bit here because it gives it a little something to attach to on the inside and outside of the ears themselves. My problem now is figuring out the placement. If you see on the hat here, if I rotate it, the side has like this little hole here, so that could be like kind of like my gauge on like angles, and then I can kind of figure out from there a proper like measure from here to here, from outside, from the center line to here. That's however many inches that you are going to work with. But I think that that is a good starting point. And then I just have to decide how many inches apart I want the ears themselves to be. I think maybe like 2 to 3 inches would be good. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna do some measurements, and I'm gonna draw a line with a pencil or a pen. I mean, it doesn't matter because these are my practice pair. But I'm gonna draw a line from like where I start the sewing and then where I stop the sewing. And where I stop the sewing is gonna be determined by kind of like the length of here to here. Let's figure out the measurements, and then I'll kind of start sewing it on, and I'll see how it works out. Okay, so the measuring is not as easy as it looks. If I could maybe have a wish here, I would probably wish to have some sort of mannequin head that I could have rested the hat on and pinned it to, which I actually do have one of those. This is editing Nicole's voice you're hearing. I didn't think about this mannequin head until, oh gosh, maybe like 3 months after I filmed this. So I apologize that you're seeing more of a struggle than you should. But if you're gonna kind of do this yourself, I would highly recommend trying to find some sort of like thing to rest your hat on top of, whatever that looks like for you with your craft supplies. Everybody's got some crazy stuff in their stash of craft supplies. So, but yes, another thing I wish I would have had here was I wish I would have had a sharper needle and a longer needle. I don't know why I don't have better needles. I used to embroider and I used to do all kinds of other crafts other than crochet. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to my needle. So the amount of punching through this fabric should not have been this hard. And maybe another alternative I probably could have thought of in this place was maybe getting a crochet thread to sew down the side of the ears instead of the yarn. But I think I was just thinking of, if this were to turn into a pattern, you know, I don't want to request of people 50 different crazy materials that they have to source before getting into the project. So using the yarn tail from the ear itself makes sense. But when you don't have a really sharp needle, it doesn't make sense. Because you need a big enough hole for the yarn to pass through into the fabric of the hat. And every now and then you're going to see me mouth words. I'm just conversating with my son. I believe we were watching Turning Red, which is one of my favorite movies from Disney. So good. He also laughs when the red panda comes on the screen, so you'll see me kind of smile at him every now and then, and in between those resting stitch faces that I'm making here. God, such crazy faces.
Well, I think you've probably noticed by now, hearing me talk in present and past tense, I film these videos when I go through this process, but I don't always post them right away. So that is why you're seeing a little bit of a time gap in my voice now and my voice when I was working through this. But let's get my final thoughts on how I felt about sewing this first ear on.
Okay, I got one ear sewed on. It actually stays upright really well. I'm kind of surprised. I mean, it'll flop a little bit because that's just the nature of it. I mean, especially because this hat is made of really thin material because it's super cheap. But I kind of love it. I mean, it's doing its job. It's standing up to gravity. I do want to see what it will look like with the other one on, just to make sure the spacing. I went a little outside of 1 inch from center. I did like 1.25 inches, and we'll see how that works. And then I measured the distance across here to be like 3.5 inches, but I kind of kept it at 3, and I think that helped. So I think this is gonna go well. I think what might be easier is if in the future I measure across the base of the foam insert and not the ear itself, because I think that will help me keep it, I guess it's easier to measure something harder than it is to measure like this fabric when I'm trying to find that distance. So that's what I'm gonna do, but so far, so freaking good. I'm obsessed with it. I kind of feel like my own design style is evolving. I don't like to just crochet. I like to kind of challenge myself with some engineering of some sort. So far so good. I'm pretty happy with this. And let's get the other ear on, see what we're working with. All right, moment of truth. I got both sewed on. Now let's see what it actually looks like on and see how well I did. Are you kidding me? This is nice. I actually really love this. Let's see what a potential bow would look like with this. I do have a bow. You wanna come up here, honey? I do have a bow that I could just throw on just for clarity. And actually, I'm just gonna get this out of the background because it's kind of distracting me. Here we have the hat. Here's like a bow I worked up. I'm working on like a bow with tails. So that's what, this is like a prototype here. But let's check out what a bow might look like with this. That's actually really cute. So I think like if I did 1 inch, it would be close together like this, just like 1 inch more. Like if I did inch from the middle, it would be kind of like that, but like relaxed out like that is actually really natural. I got this like natural ears angle and I kind of love it because if I put a pair of ears on for comparison, I'm gonna take a pair of ears from that thing I just took down. These are a little bit more in because the Ever After Ears pattern has them being 2 inches apart, where this is 2.5 inches apart. So there is quite a difference, but I kind of like the change in that. But you could totally do it however you want, honestly. How fun is that? I also don't have this 100% adjusted to me. Let me adjust this a little bit more. Tighter. Okay. Yeah, that's a little bit tighter. Bro. I think we have a success here. The only thing I really don't love, and I don't know how to troubleshoot it or make it better, maybe it just is gonna take practice, is the wrinkling you get when you're sewing this on to the fabric of the hat. I think if I were to probably use this, do this again, I would probably actually not make the stitches as like taut. Maybe I would aim for just securing it on as opposed to like tightening and pulling the thread of the yarn every time I pull it through a new hole. I also on one ear used a back stitch, and on the other ear I just did once across and then once on the way back, like sewing across and then back to double secure it. I think I prefer the back stitch method for sewing these on. If anybody does like basic sewing, they know what I'm talking about. But give me a comment down below. Is this working for you? Yeah, see that buckling right there? That's coming from me kind of like not taking my time with sewing it down because I was so excited to do it. Are you laughing at yourself? He's laughing at himself. You are very funny, yes. Okay, now, I'm going to work up another version of this. I have another hat over here. We're gonna see how the glue version compares. You know, it's nice to be able to provide people with options. I think having options will make this more of a desirable pattern to download or work up. So I'm gonna go ahead and work on that right now, and I will get back to you with some comparison. Yay! And maybe I'll work up a bow to go with this, and we'll make it really cute. Yeah.
Alrighty, now working on this second hat, I sped it up quite a bit for you to see my process here. Here you're actually seeing me really cut into that aggressively. I was a little more confident this time cutting into the second hat. Another thing I did with this project, which I'm glad I did, just to have more of a scientific approach to it, you know, where you kind of use the same exact subject for multiple approaches. I used the same hat, just different colors, to work up this second ear with the glue version. And I'm glad I did. I was more familiar with what I was working with, and I didn't like just all of a sudden switch to some random hat with a thicker fabric. So I'm glad I did that. Pulling these ends through was a struggle, and it was a struggle because I didn't want to further rip the fabric, which I probably could have done something to keep the fabric from ripping, but I also probably could have actually made the ends of the ear strips a little bit skinnier to help this process. So you might hear me talk about that in the future tutorials, but for now, I did what I could, and gluing it down obviously is much, much, much faster.
Okay, so I had a little help with this. I ended up finding that gluing it on, I needed something to like be on the bottom underneath so that I had something to like press down onto when I was gluing the sides of the ear bases down. So I ended up grabbing my headband stand that I bought a while back. I have a bunch of these now. I'll link that down in the description below if you're interested. I ended up like placing this underneath so I had something to lean against. Now, this still looks really, really clean. I mean, I'm kind of like loving it. The only thing I hate, it's just with every time you learn how to make something new again, you're just gonna run into like little dips in the road. Like anytime like I had too much glue added to this, like I forgot, like you see the glue kind of peeking out there, and it dries in a different color than the rest of the hat. I mean, I can go in with like a Sharpie and like color on top and be, you know, kind of ghetto like that, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. So let's try it on. I haven't seen it yet on, so here we go. Oh my God. Wow. And I'm not gonna lie, actually, this is sturdier than the sewing. The tabs were a dream. The tabs really just made it better. I can make the tabs shorter in length because it really didn't need to be as long as it did, because actually when I went to go put them underneath and then stretch them to like lay them flat and glue them down, they ended up touching in the middle. There's a bit of wrinkling here, but I don't know if that's because that is the fabric of this hat, or that's just how I did it because it was my first time and my hands are a little like clumsy trying to like navigate it and work as I go. So I think this is boss. I'm like so into this right now. And I think this, again, would look perfect with a bow. It would also look perfect without a bow. Oh, I mean, just come on, so cute. Tell me in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think you would work up the glue version or the sew version of this baseball cap modification? I personally like the glue version because I think it's just gonna be sturdier. And I think that it's a more finished look. I think with this, the edging with the sewing can be a little wild. But again, like it still looks fine. I mean, I'm not mad at it. Again, I think the wrinkling I'm also seeing is, now that I, you know, have done a couple, has to do with the actual fabric of the hat, not necessarily my sewing skills. Of course, I'm sure the sewing skills did not help. What I'm gonna do now is, just because it's me and just because I wanna have like all the steps covered before I go to film this and work on the tutorial and a pattern tester call and all that jazz, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna make a couple of bows. I'm gonna try my hand at sewing the bow on. That's gonna be scary for me. And then I'm gonna take my hand at just gluing it on. So yeah, yay. Oh, let's get those bows. Okay, it's all finished. The bows went on successfully, except that the bow on the glue version, which sucks because I can't redo it, got glued on slightly off center, but it's okay. It's okay. So let me show you how the bows look. I think they look fantastic. This is the sew version. I think it looks so cute. It is extremely approachable. Definitely sits right up top without any issue. Sewing it on took literally 1 minute. It was so easy. Such a fan of this. 100% love. Love, love, love. Okay, let's try the second part. And here we go. Here is the bow on top of this one. Love it. Now, I did this directly on top of the head, right in front of like the knob. And most baseball caps have this like button on top here. Yeah, so I put the bow on, I sewed it or glued it right in front of this knob. That was like a perfect like center marker. Somehow I didn't adjust it for this one, but honestly, I actually can't even tell from this distance, and I think it looks pretty great. Yeah, so that about wraps it up. Please let me know in the comments below. Are you ready to try this? Are you excited? Please stay tuned for the release of this tutorial. Again, hit that bell button. It will let you know when my tutorials drop or any content on my channel. This will also be available as a pattern in my pattern shops on Etsy and Ravelry. I can't wait for this to be live. This is a very great option for those that do not want to wear a headband, that just want to wear a hat. For those that are going with more like the sporty look, maybe they're going to the parks in like athletic wear or just like casual wear and they don't want to wear a headband, this is going to work for you. I also think that this is a good idea for kids because kids don't really wear headbands well. I personally have a little one that I made a version of this for, and that's how this project kind of got started. I was like, well, I want him to wear mouse ears for his birthday because the theme was Mickey Mouse. If you haven't seen that video, check out that. I'll leave a card up here. But I was like, oh, this kid could wear a hat. That's easy. And then the sun will be out of his eyes, which is perfect for kids going to the park because it's so bright in Florida. I'm sure it's the same in California, Disneyland. I've never been to Disneyland. It's a goal of mine. But I know that this is another great option because it's weather friendly and bad hair day friendly, and it's just more versatile for those that don't want to wear a bow. Take the bow off, bada bing, bada boom, you have yourself a wonderful set of mouse ears. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of struggle with me, but it's not even an episode, it's just kind of like a vlog. This was a shorter one. I kind of had this already mapped out in my head, so there was less trial and error and just more of like a let's get in there and let's do it. Now I can't wait to just pump this out. So thank you so much for tuning into my channel. I am Nicole of Woven Tales Designs. Have a creative day, adding magic to your stitches in your own way, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye. What am I working on? Golly, I kind of love that. Instagrammer. Poopiness was an inch, but how fun is this though? Love this. It looks like a macaron cookie. Subscribe to the channel as well if you like it. Musty Rose. I personally think this might be a real short vlog. I did like 1.25 inches because I thought it was a little too high. I did it.